स्वागत करती हूँ। A very warm welcome to India's first Financial Freedom Summit. Money9 is committed to financial security and financial freedom for all. This summit is bringing in India's leadership and brightest minds of financial world under one roof. Summit will deliberate on strategies of financial empowerment and financial freedom.
बिल्कुल प्रियंका, और टीवी 9 और मनी 9 का सम्मेलन देश के हर नागरिक को कमाई, खर्च, बचत, सबसे अहम निवेश के बारे में जागरूक करेगा और भारत के आर्थिक भविष्य को सुरक्षित करने की रणनीतियों की राह खोलेगा। लेकिन समिट पर आगे बढ़े उससे पहले टीवी 9 ग्रुप के बारे में जानते हैं।
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching TV9 Bharatvarsh, the new Hindi news leader. TV9 Kannada, the king of Karnataka. TV9 Telugu, the forever Telugu superstar. TV9 Marathi, the ultimate leader of Maharashtra. TV9 Gujarat, the Sardar of Gujarat. TV9 Bangla, the choice of Bhadralok. Money9, India's first multimedia, multi-language, personal finance platform. News 9 Plus, world's first English news OTT platform.
And in the same vein, let me introduce you Money9. You would get to know more about Money9 during the course of the conclave, but let's give you a starter tease what we are doing at Money9.
कठिन पहेली। कमाते हैं तो जी नहीं पाते, खर्चते हैं तो खाली हो जाते हैं, बचाते हैं तो फंस जाते हैं, निवेश करें तो कहां करें। अब आ गया है Money9, आपकी अपनी भाषा में देश का पहला पर्सनल फाइनेंस ऐप जो रखे आपकी जेब का ख्याल। अभी डाउनलोड करें Money9, आजादी पैसे की। थोड़ी सी समझ आपकी जिंदगी बना सकती है, छोटी सी बचत आपकी दुनिया सजा सकती है, जरा से धैर्य से पूरे हो सकते हैं सारे सपने। उम्मीदों को चाहिए बस जरा सा भरोसा। अब आ गया है Money9, आपकी अपनी भाषा में देश का पहला पर्सनल फाइनेंस ऐप जो रखे आपकी जेब का ख्याल। अभी डाउनलोड करें Money9, आजादी पैसे की।
और ये केवल हिंदी में ही नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारी कोशिश है कि हम देश के हर भाषा में आपको पर्सनल फाइनेंस समझा सके, पहुंचा सके। Money9 is an effort to financialize India's diversities, not just in one language, but in multi languages.
तारों में रहते हो या सहारनपुर में, जालंधर के हो या जलपाईगुड़ी के, हम्पी में ठिकाना हो या होसुर में, पैसे की जबान एक ही है, उम्मीदों की उड़ान एक ही है। अब आ गया है Money9, आपकी अपनी भाषा में देश का पहला पर्सनल फाइनेंस ऐप जो रखे आपकी जेब का ख्याल। अभी डाउनलोड करें Money9, आजादी पैसे की।
तो प्रियंका आगे बढ़े उससे पहले एक बार जोरदार तालियां हो जाए मनी 9 के लिए। A huge round of applause for Money9.
बिल्कुल, आपने मेरी मुंह की बात छीन ली गौरव। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू सो मच मुंबई। आप बहुत व्यस्त रहते हैं, लेकिन मुंबई दिन में 2 बजे हम प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं और हाउसफुल है, तो थैंक यू मुंबई फॉर दिस वार्म वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ अस। सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड विद द महाकुंभ ऑफ पर्सनल फाइनेंस मार्केट, एंड फॉर दिस आई वुड नाउ रिक्वेस्ट TV9 Group Managing Director and CEO Barun Basi to accompany today's chief guest, Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, Madam Anupriya Patel ji, to the stage. Please come, sir.
Please a big round of applause for our dynamic guest of honor, Madam Anupriya Patel, Minister of State for Commerce and Industry. जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत करते हैं TV9 नेटवर्क के मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर और CEO वरुण दास जी का और हमारी स्पेशल गेस्ट अनुप्रिया पटेल जी का।
इसी के साथ मैं आग्रह करना चाहूंगी वरुण दास जी को को कि वो मंच पर आए और ओपनिंग कमेंट दें ताकि हम इस खूबसूरत से सफर की शुरुआत कर सके। सर प्लीज।
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Gaurav. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the inaugural edition of T9 Network Financial Freedom Summit powered by Money9. A very warm and special welcome to the Honorable Minister of State, Commerce and Industry, Shri Anupriya ji, who has come all the way from Delhi only to be with us this afternoon. Thank you very much, ma'am. So what is this Financial Freedom Summit? What is Money9? We've seen those short teasers. And why are we here today? Let me share my thoughts on this. You must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you. A quotation from Dave Ramsey, not a very famous personality, a radio personality, but the quote I always have loved. Largely, Ramsey's comment, this quote describes or explains that why we are here today. In another word, to live, we need oxygen, water, and food. And ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, we can only get oxygen free still. Hence, to my mind, importance of money is right up there with our basic needs. No, of course, I'm not talking about money in the same spirit as the pop group Abbas did. Remember the song, Money, Money, Money? I don't want to sing. I want all of you to be here. Hence, I'm just remembering those two lines, money, money, money. It's always sunny in rich man's land. Money, 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 all the things I could do if I had a little money. That's not what I mean. On the contrary, more than money itself, it is financial freedom that truly empowers us. And all of us would agree that the ultimate goal of our independence is that each and every citizen of a great country enjoys true financial freedom. A country's independence lies in its citizens being able to stand on their own two feet. India has truly fast-tracked the financial freedom agenda during the last decade or so. But given the gigantic inequality that started with, we have yet a long road to traverse. And I'm sure, Anupriya ji, under your government's and the Prime Minister's leadership, the distance is being covered in good haste. A huge progress has been achieved in bringing citizens into the formal financial ecosystem. The world is talking about India's jam trinity. The fintech revolution led by the UPI breakthrough defines the inclusive India story today. I am an eternal optimist, but that does not prevent me from looking at the gap areas in financial freedom mission of India, which is why Money9 was launched. Money9 is India's first multimedia, multilingual personal finance platform from TV9 network, which is the largest news network of our country now. Money9, mind you, is not a media product. We will talk more about it during the course of the day, but in short, Money9 is a super app in the making where content builds the eyeballs and then leads them to advisory, community learning, transaction, gaming, etc. All with a singular purpose of empowering every Indian with financial wisdom. One of the major initiatives of Money9 is the annual Personal Finance Pulse Survey, or PFP, which is India's first independent and perhaps the biggest nationwide personal finance survey to map the state of financial security of our country. The findings of the on-ground survey, which covered more than 30,000 sample households. Yes, it's a physical sample done, while the surveyor visited 30,000 plus samples across the length and the breadth of our country. The findings will help us to collectively draw the financial freedom roadmap. The inaugural survey done late last year came up with many startling findings, such as almost 60% of Indian household remains financially vulnerable. The lack of financial security is also corroborated by a World Bank report recently. And despite the boom in the number of insurance providers, less than 4% of Indian households are insured. Basically, the Indians, most of the households, 96% households, do not even know whether they need insurance, and if they need insurance, how much is the insurance need for their security. The Money9 Personal Finance Survey has pointed to the critical gap between demand and supply side in the financial inclusion space. While the supply side looks having been well established, the demand side is still a laggard and needs to catch up to create the inclusion ecosystem. The Union government and all other relevant stakeholders, including RBI, SEBI, and the BFSI industry, seem committed to the financial freedom vision, but it is time to look at some out-of-box solutions. Not surprisingly, the issue is now occupying the mind space of India's top policy leaders. The RBI governor, in his recent financial inclusion address, pointed to the supply-demand gap and the need to address it urgently. The governor said the demand side and the supply side measures should ideally complement each other. I am in complete agreement with the governor's prescription. And he's absolutely right when he says that responsible and sustained financial inclusion requires balancing opportunity and innovation on both the supply and demand side. As I stated, Money9 is committed to playing a pivotal role in bridging this gap. Everything related to the financial security of Indian households would be available in Indian languages on our one-stop platform, the Money9 Super App, which builds the content, connect, and commerce for a 360-degree inclusion perspective. I take the liberty to quote the father of the nation as I conclude my speech. The future depends on what you do today. So there lies the answer to the question that I asked in the beginning. Thank you very much, and once again, welcome to the Financial Freedom Summit.
थैंक यू वरुण सर, आपके इस स्पीच के लिए बहुत शुक्रिया आपका। प्लीज आप अपनी सीट ग्रहण कीजिए। और देखिए, अब हम आगे बढ़ें उससे पहले आपको बताना चाहते हैं कुछ। इस कार्यक्रम की नींव Money9 के पर्सनल फाइनेंस सर्वे के आधार पर पड़ी है, और पिछले साल मार्च से सितंबर के दौरान Money9 देश का पहला पर्सनल फाइनेंस सर्वे कराने वाला एक प्लेटफॉर्म था। और उस सर्वे में देश के परिवारों की कमाई की बात हुई, प्रियंका, बचत, खर्च, निवेश को लेकर पहली बार ऐसी जानकारी सामने आई है जिसके बारे में पहले ही शायद कोई जानता रहा हो। तो चलिए उस सर्वे से जुड़ी कुछ अहम बातों पर जल्दी से एक नजर डाल लेते हैं।
We are all familiar with the headline numbers. India's economy has grown to become the world's fifth largest in the last 9 years. We have now crossed the $3 trillion mark. But does this really reflect ground reality? How financially secure is the average Indian? When Money9 conducted India's first personal finance survey last November, we found that almost 69% of households faced financial insecurity. What does this say? It shows that while there's growth in financial inclusion and the financial services industry is doing well, financial security of Indians remains a concern. How will they bridge this demand-supply gap and secure the well-being of 1.4 billion Indians? This question lies at the heart of the Financial Freedom Summit, hosted by TV9 Network and Money9. This unique gathering of policymakers and thought leaders will draw a financial roadmap for India and set the agenda for action.
Well, Gaurav, this is the personal finance survey which has pioneered the way to this summit where we all are standing, because we want to discuss what kind of challenges we are facing and where are the opportunities. Just now our CEOs has told us that there is a lag when it comes to the demand side. So let's find some answers here, and before we move forward, let's meet with a galaxy of leaders, money masters and experts who would grace the Money9's Personal Finance Summit today.
तो जैसा कि आपने देखा, भारत के वित्तीय जगत की प्रमुख हस्तियां, प्रमुख विशेषज्ञ, जाने माने लोग आज मनी 9 के इस अपने तरह के अनोखे मंच पर होंगे। और ये पूरा समिट आप मनी 9 के मोबाइल ऐप और मनी 9 और टीवी 9 नेटवर्क के यूट्यूब चैनल, फेसबुक प्लेटफॉर्म पर लाइव देख रहे हैं।
और इस मौके पर हमने सोचा कि एक अच्छा काम ये हो सकता है कि हम जो सुपर ऐप की बहुत लंबे समय से तैयारी कर रहे हैं उसे आपके सामने पेश करें, लेकिन आगे बढ़ने से दिखाते हैं आपको कि ये सुपर ऐप है क्या।
Welcome to the world of Money9. Money9 brings you India's first personal finance empowerment super app, now in 10 languages. Money9 super app will offer a unique machine learning, voice search powered personalized interface by its pioneering multi-screen engagement architecture. The Money9 super app will offer personal finance news analysis, wisdom and guidance via video, radio, reels, live shows, interviews, comic and specialized documentaries. Money9 Super App will empower its subscribers via live helpline, expert exchange, chat shows, quiz and games, money education, community connect ratings of financial products and gateways to transactions. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your mobiles ready to become the part of a new revolution in personal finance empowerment. Money9, Azadi, Paise.
Money9 is not only coming out with a super app, it has another pioneering offering for policymakers and BFSI industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to present Data Coin, India's first personal finance data interface.
Money9 brings India's first personal finance interface, the Data Coin. Money9 Data Coin will help policymakers and BFSI industry to feel India's financial pulse along the length and breadth of the country. Data Coin will exclusively provide access to granular data of India's biggest personal finance survey conducted by Money9 between May to September 2022. The personal finance survey of Money9 has covered over 31,000 households, 20 states and 100 districts. The survey findings were widely covered by the media. Personal Finance Survey is an annual exercise and its next edition will be launched this year, which will be wider and deeper than the last one. Data Coin will also offer secondary data on personal finance products like insurance, savings, gold, property, debt, mutual fund and stock market. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Data Coin, India's first personal finance data interface, exclusively for policymakers and BFSI industry.
और अब मैं माननीय वाणिज्य और उद्योग राज्य मंत्री श्रीमती अनुप्रिया पटेल जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि वो रिमोट दबाकर Money9 के डेटा कॉइन प्लेटफॉर्म को लॉन्च करें। मैम याद प्लीज प्रेस द बटन। थैंक यू मैम, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका हमारे डेटा कॉइन ऐप को लॉन्च के लिए। एक जोरदार तालियां हो जाए डेटा कॉइन ऐप के लॉन्च के लिए। अ ह्यूज राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज प्लीज। और अब मैं माननीय मंत्री महोदया से अनुरोध करूंगा कि प्लीज आप डायस पर आएं और हमें संबोधित करें। प्लीज मैम।
Very good afternoon. Shri Barun Das ji, MD and CEO TV9 Network, all our banking, finance and insurance sector experts who are here today to make this very unique initiative of holding the first ever in India Financial Freedom Summit successful. And the whole team of TV9, Money9, all of you, it gives me great delight to be here for this inaugural session of this first ever Financial Freedom Summit. And I thank Barunji for inviting me here to participate, to be a part of this very special initiative, which I feel is very important, considering the amount of trust that Government of India, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, is putting on the very, very important theme of not just financial inclusion, but also financial freedom. So congratulations, TV9, Money9, once again. As I learn, one complete day has been dedicated to this summit, wherein you will be witness to 6 different technical sessions, and you would be enriched with the ideas and thoughts that would be shared by a panel of experts in the finance sector. I'm convinced it's going to be a very, very meaningful engagement, very productive, and it would help us to take the very important agenda forward of financial inclusion and financial freedom. I would like to put on record my sincere appreciation for the whole team of Money9 and TV9 network for undertaking this very extensive and huge exercise of drawing 30,000 sample households and then conducting this whole survey, which is called the Mega Personal Finance Survey. And we have just seen a very relevant finding that has come up. In this presentation, the 69% of the Indians today are still financially insecure. So what the survey tells us is a big gap which exists between the supply side and the demand side. Of course, financial inclusion, financial freedom has been one of the top priorities of Government of India. But we have made several efforts on the supply side. The demand side is still an area which needs to be looked into. And I'm glad Money9 and TV9 have taken this initiative to highlight that there is a grave need for India as a country, considering the future of 140 crore Indians, that we start thinking towards putting in our efforts into the demand side. So I'm very happy that we have all assembled here for a very important cause. We all understand the need for financial inclusion. You're also aware how Government of India has worked towards this very important objective. It is financial inclusion which not just makes people, it just doesn't make people aware of the need of it, but also it is beneficial for the overall economic prosperity of the nation. It has several benefits, not just in terms of reducing cash economy or helping people to better avail the benefits of the government schemes, but also to be able to develop the capacity to manage their own money. I think Mr. Barun Das ji in his address very rightly said this, that money is not the dream which every citizen of India should have. It's rather a better management, a better financial freedom, which we must aim towards. And this is what we are going to be discussing. So it's a very important discussion which is going to take place throughout the day during the course of several different technical sessions. My dear friends, you're all aware that Government of India has made several efforts to extend financial services to the so far unserved population of the country. very important initiatives like Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana or the National Mission for Financial Inclusion, which we started working upon 2014 onwards, when the government led by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji took over the country for the first time. And since then, it has been a long journey for 9 years with several important outcomes in the right direction. We all understand why greater financial inclusion is required for a wider, for an inclusive, and for a sustainable growth. RBI recently told us that for the year 2022, the annual financial freedom index, it stood at financial inclusion index, it stood at 56.4. And it is an improvement over 53.9, where we stood at in the year 2021. And this has been possible with the collective efforts of all the relevant stakeholders. You're also aware, Digital India was launched with the perspective of transforming the country into a digitally empowered society and a knowledgeable economy. And significant strides since then have been taken to build digital infrastructure, deliver tech-enabled citizen services, and scale online payments to propel India to the forefront of a digital transformation. We've all been witness to the devastation which was caused by COVID-19 pandemic. But we also learned important lessons of life during the pandemic. India today has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We've recently surpassed the British economy, becoming the 5th largest in the world. And we're expected to be the 3rd largest in times to come in the next 4 or 5 years. So that's the rate, that's the pace at which India is moving. And COVID-19 pandemic was the time when India has shown how digital acceptance, digital transformation can work to the best interest of the nation. It was during these tough times that we learned that how technology could be useful in not just connecting, but also delivering and also creating an inclusive society, and which is what the digital infrastructure of the country has been able to achieve. Digital payments, you are aware, my dear friends, on UPI especially has fast-forwarded the pace of financial literacy across the board, from urban enthusiasm to the rural need. And today, 90% of India's population has signed up for a digital ID in less than a decade, and about half of them linking their new ID to their bank account. Here, I would also like to mention that a recent Pan-India Digital Payments Survey covering 90,000 respondents revealed that 42% of the respondents have used digital payments. Also, in the year 2022, digital payments increased by 76% in transactions and 91% in value. Not a mean achievement, ladies and gentlemen. And going forward, it will be a foundational approach to the cause of fostering financial inclusion up from the bottom. The UPI, you would agree with me if I say, it has been an unquestioned success. And we believe there is an opportunity for it to have an even greater impact on the country, especially in the rural and the remote and the largely unserved regions. And digital and financial inclusion can significantly improve people's lives. Today, UPI accounts for 75% of total digital payments in India. And the volume of UPI transactions had increased multifold from 4.5 million in the year 2017 to 8 billion by the year 2023. And in terms of value, there has been an increase from 250 million US dollar in the year 2017 to $158 billion in the year 2023. Talking about the daily transactions via UPI, they have gone up exponentially in the past 12 months, with daily transactions crossing 36 crores or 360 million from 240 million or 24 crores in February 2022. And by 2025, a very important thing that I'm going to say now, by the year 2025, the daily transactions on the UPI platform will be able to touch 1 billion. That's the expectation we have. That's how we are performing. So the digital landscape is a fast-changing one, of course, with the overarching technologies that we have today, which are being used in the country. And India has emerged as a credible leader when it comes to not just creating digital public infrastructure for financial inclusion at the population scale. UPI, I just mentioned, but there's also the Open Credit Enablement Network, the OCEAN, which is an emerging digital public good. That's a very good example in front of us. And this empowers also the MSMEs by directly delivering financial products to them, thereby eliminating their dependence on the traditional lenders. It could significantly improve the digital ecosystem of lenders and the loan service providers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian fintech ecosystem has also emerged as a formidable global force and continues to grow as one of the largest fintech markets globally, and fintech adoption rate has been the highest in India. The market opportunity, coupled with conducive and proactive regulators, has also helped the fintech industry grow at a notable pace. These companies have managed to attract the top talent from various sectors, which will continue to help them thrive. India's digital economy is expected to witness exponential growth. Financial inclusion, my dear friends, is also critical when it comes to international trade. You would know that there are currently billions of people across the globe, including many in our own country, India, who are financially excluded or unserved. And that is why financial inclusion is important, because it is very difficult to participate in international trade when you're outside the formal financial system. So international trade could also be an important contributor towards the big agenda of financial inclusion, and through services, increased services and regulatory improvements. We strongly support efforts to increase financial inclusion from the trade angle, because without it, the excluded would neither benefit from the trade and nor participate in it. We are working to fulfill Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's dream of making district as export hub. You would recollect Honorable Prime Minister of India saying this from the ramparts of the Red Fort, that every district in India has the potential equivalent to some country in the world. And we have so much of locally manufactured goods. And then he came up with the idea of vocal for local and local goes global. But how do we do that? We want to put every district of India on the global map, and which is why this entire exercise of developing district as export hub, picking up what's locally produced, not just boosting up manufacturing at the grassroots level, but also employment generation, involving our farmers and artisans into that whole chain, and taking our goods from local to global to the world market, and for which Ministry of Commerce and Industry is undertaking a huge exercise. We've launched a national effort, and we have taken all our Indian missions abroad on board So we are doing a very tight monitoring, commodity-wise, region-wise, territory-wise, mission-wise, and we are making sure that we march towards fulfillment of this dream. We have an entire institutional mechanism set up at the level of state governments, at the level of districts. We have district promotion boards, promotion committees, district export plans. So which is how we are trying to develop district as exports hub, picking up things locally manufactured from our districts and taking them to the global market. On the export front, I'm also happy to tell you that India, our exporter community, I would say, has surprised the nation. Well, on the export front during the COVID times, last year, our merchandise exports, they were highest ever. $422 billion, ladies and gentlemen, and that too, well in advance. Prime Minister gave us a target of $400 billion for merchandise exports, but we were able to achieve $422 billion of merchandise exports, clubbed with $256 billion of services exports. So collectively, it was $676 billion of exports, which we made in the year 2021-22. And this year, the tempo is high. We are on the right track. And recently, our figures tell us that continuing on this high growth path, India's exports have been able to face the global headwinds from a position of strength in the back of strong macroeconomic fundamentals and buffers. We registered a positive growth of 16.56% during the period April to January 2022-23, with a value of 637, a little above that, $1 billion, as compared to a little above $546 billion during the same period last year. This is with respect to our exports. Merchandise exports. This was a collective figure. I'm telling you about the merchandise exports. How will we perform? Looking at the comparative figures in the same period, April to January this year and last year, $369.25 billion. This year, April to January 2022-23, as compared to $340.28 billion in the same period last year. Coming to services now, our services exports were close to $267 billion in the period April to January 2023, an increase of 29.82, approximately 30% over $206 billion in the same period last year. So we've been making some progress, and this year, when finally you see the export figures of merchandise and export figures of merchandise and services put together, it will be even better than what we achieved. And we have a target of reaching $2 billion by the year 2030. $1 trillion for merchandise exports and $1 trillion each for services and merchandise by the year 2022. Because our share in global exports today to 10%, which is why the sub-target of achieving $2 trillion of services together merchandise to 2030. So this was a little brief about how Department of Commerce is functioning. I consider it important to inform you. This is a very enlightened gathering which is here, so you must know how country is performing on the exports front. Well, I would also like to mention to you that we have been fast-tracking our FTAs also. You are aware that India has created history by executing our fastest ever FTA with the UAE, the SEPA, in just 88 days. In a very short time, we also concluded our FTA with Australia, and we are holding our negotiation talks with several other important countries, EU, UK, Canada, GCC, Israel, all are in queue. We are fast-tracking and we are trying to achieve balanced FTAs. That will also open up the global markets for our exporter community. But coming back to the same point, for international trade also, financial freedom, financial inclusion, all these concepts are important. So it's very good that today we are all here to discuss how more we can work towards the demand side and we can bridge this gap which exists between the supply and the demand side when it comes to financial freedom. It is our responsibility. I'm glad we launched an app today. And I must congratulate Barunji for the beautiful teaser that has been created. It is so simple to understand, it is very attractive, and it just gets the idea into your head. So simple common Indian would just look at it and understand why it's important. So sometimes it's very important to communicate things in simple language, in simple way, so that people are able to understand what is missing. We started with the very relevant finding of 69% Indians being financially insecure. So how do you take that study to the mind of a common Indian? This is how. So these kind of teasers will help a lot. I'm very glad the app has been launched. I've had the privilege of launching the app. I'm sure more and more Indians are going to use it. And whatever we discussed today in today's summit, yes, it is with a very important agenda. It is with a very important idea of strengthening the agenda that government of India has. But what's more important is that whatever findings are, whatever the learnings, the outcomes of these technical sessions are, of this whole one-day summit is, we are able to take those findings, those lessons, everything that comes out of this, too much of this churning that is going to take place here, we are going to take it to the minds of a common man in very, very simple ways. The government stands by you. I'm once again very happy. I'm here to participate, inaugurate, and see all this happening. Thank you very much once again, Money9, for inviting me. I hope we take this agenda forward, and next time when TV9 or Money9 organizes the summit next year, maybe after a year, we see some progress. So when we talk about the gap that exists between the supply side and demand side, we are able to see that the gap has reduced. So we made some progress. So all the best. Congratulations once again. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
थैंक यू मैडम मिनिस्टर, आपकी उम्मीद ही शक्ल हम उम्मीद यही कर रहे हैं कि इस समिट के साथ हम इस जर्नी को कंटिन्यूअस रखें, आगे बढ़ाते रहें. Very grateful for such an enlightening address by Honorable Minister of State, Madam Anupriya Patel, our chief guest of the day. Her magnificent address has perfectly set the ball rolling for India's first Financial Freedom Summit. Before we move forward, I would request Barundas sir to present an auspicious Shri Kalash to our honorable guest of honor.
बिल्कुल, तो श्री कलश भारतीय संस्कृति में पवित्र समृद्धि का युगों पुराना पवित्र प्रतीक है. मैं चाहूंगा वरुण सर आप प्लीज श्री कलश से सम्मानित करें हमारी चीफ गेस्ट को.
I would also like to invite Money9's editor, Mr. Anshuman on stage to present this moment.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु. सभी सुखी होवे, सभी रोग मुक्त रहे, सभी मंगलमय के साक्षी बने और किसी को भी दुख का भागी न बनना पड़े. इस कामना के साथ आप सभी का दिन बहुत मंगलमय हो.
Thank you so much. We would request you to take a seat because the inauguration has happened with your august presence. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. As you pointed out, there are 6 technical sessions, and we would request our guest of honor to stay for as many sessions as she could. And the next session is going to be with the renowned BFSI face leader, dynamic Radhika Gupta, Managing Director and CEO of Utilize AFC. I would ask Anshumanji, Money9's editor, to accompany Radhika to bring her on stage, please.
A big round of applause for our dynamic guest of honor. जैसा कि आपको प्रियंका ने बताया, a dynamic person, BFSI इंडस्ट्री का एक जाना माना नाम राधिका जी हमारे साथ आ चुकी हैं और